Hello everybody. Welcome to my live. Thank you for watching tonight. I'm trying out a new phone stand tonight, so we'll see how that goes. I think it looks okay so far. All right, well, thank you for joining me. My name is Laura Roderick. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in San Antonio, Texas. I try and go live just about every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Central Time and show you some fun projects. So thank you for joining me. I hope you're going to craft along with me, make something while you're watching. It's a good day to stamp, right? All right, still hot in Texas, still hot and sunny. Hi, Roz. Yeah, so I was outside a little bit. Hi, Lisa. You know, at work, sometimes I walk to the next building across the parking lot, and I was like, oh, it feels pretty cool out here today. Well, it was 91, but still, I mean, it felt cool compared to what it's been. So still warm and sunny here. I don't know, you know, is it, Lisa? What are your temperatures like? I'm jealous. I wouldn't mind a little cool, nice fall weather. I'm really like, maybe it's because making fall projects right now, I feel like I'm really missing fall, but I'm going to have a couple trips coming up, so hopefully I'm going to get a little bit of fall this year. Hi, Sharon. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn my camera around. Let's get started. I have some nice, fun fall projects tonight, and I'm anxious to show them to you. All right. So let's turn this around and see how this new camera stand works. All right. It's hard to tell. You know, when I practice stuff on my, you know, I can do a Facebook Live just for myself. And sometimes I practice with just my camera, but the Facebook view and the camera view are two completely, totally different things. For some reason, the Facebook is a little bit more magnified, I guess. So, all right, we're going to try this and see how it goes. All right, you guys, I wanted to remind everyone that I have a Spooky Halloween card class kit available right now. So I think Friday is the last day that you can sign up for it. Thank you to everyone who's already signed up for it. I'm super excited about that. All right, I just found myself on my iPad. Got to make sure I was coming up and I can see everybody's comments. So let me start by just showing you the projects that we're going to make in that class. So we have this cute little card that is a twist and pop card. So when you open it up, it's going to open up. And we're going to have this little bit of cuteness on the inside, right? This is a nice, easy card because those are all just like the cutouts from the kit, right? So that's easy. We're going to do this little step card. Let me move this up for a minute before we get started so we can see these a little bit better. Okay, so we've got this card right here. We're going to do this cute little pocket card. You can't see it because my fingers are in the way. But this just pops out and says Happy Halloween. We're going to do, of course, a flamingo card for Miss Emmeline, who loves her flamingos. We're going to do this cute little cookie box. And we've got our fun little Target cookie inside there. And it fits perfectly. We've made this one before, right? So we've got a cute little cookie that fits in there. And then we're going to use those beautiful iridescent treat bags and make this cute little kit. So put whatever your favorite candy is in there. Okay, so those are the projects for the class. You'll get products with the class also. So you will get a package of these stars, these shimmer foam star stickers, right? Those are good. You'll get a bolt of this beautiful iridescent petunia pop ribbon that we're going to use pretty much on all the projects. You'll get half a pack of the designer series paper. So this right here is half a pack. I just haven't cut it yet. So I will punch out all these for you and put them in a little cello bag. So you'll get all these little punch outs. And then you'll get one sheet. It'll be cut in half. Of each of these, so it'll come to you 6 by 12. So I will be cutting these in half for you. Look at these cute little patterns, right? So we'll have these pieces right here. So you'll get all that in your kit. So the cost of it is $41 plus $7 for shipping, and so it's $48 total. It includes tax. So we have that. So we're going to do this craft along on September 30th on the Facebook Live then. So you'll have everything pre-cut. You may have to pre-cut a little bit of the DSP for the cards. And then you'll be ready to go, right? So order by September 12th. That's Friday. I'm going to ship the kits about 10 days later once I get all the product in and do all the cutting and prepping. And then we'll be live on the 30th. You're going to need that spooky Halloween bundle. And then some stamp pads and some blends. These are all listed on here. If you are on my email list, then, all right, I'm going to put this back down. If you're on my email list, then you'll be able to read all the details on my email, okay? All right, all you have to do to sign up is just email me, text me, message me, say, hey, I want the kit, and then I'll send you an invoice through Square. Super easy sign-up process, right? Okay, Lisa, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hi, Renee. All right. These are the cards we're going to work on tonight. Okay. So this week we are using the Amber Autumn set. All right. So we're going to make 4 cards, pretty fall cards. So we've got this one, which is just Autumn Wishes. This little thank you card right here that opens up like this. We're going to do a little coloring, as you can see. This one right here that says, blessed to have you in my life. And then this little Autumn Wishes card right here. Now you can turn any of these cards into a birthday card. You know someone who has a nice fall birthday. You know, so mix it up if you would like to. They don't all just have to say autumn. These would make really nice Thanksgiving cards, right? Okay. Y'all can't see my sign, so I'm just going to lift it up and let you see it for a minute, because I'm a little bit closer this week, it looks like. But all I have on my little sign, it just talks about if you want to order the make and take kits this week, it's you just place an order of $50 or more at my Stampin' Up! Website. Name me as your demonstrator for this order. But the $50, you guys, I just want to remind everybody, has to be after discounts, right? So it's $50 after discounts by Saturday, and I'll send the make and takes. I will cut them on Sunday and ship them on Monday. If you don't want to place an order, you can also purchase for $22. Sign up is the same way. Just email me, text me, message me, whatever works for you. Okay, let's get going. Let's start with this Autumn Wishes card right here. This is the first card that we're going to do. We're going to do a little coloring. Let me show you first what we're going to use on this card. So this is the Amber Autumn. Isn't this a beautiful stamp set? I just love it. It's so pretty. It's got everything we need, right? Leaves, acorns, corn, pumpkins, and really beautiful fonts. So that's our stamp set. This is the die set that goes along with the bundle. And so it's going to cut out the acorn and leaves and also the pumpkin set right here. Then we've got this beautiful oak leaf that cuts out, and this little, I don't know, what would you call that? A little branchy thing that we're going to use tonight too. I think we use everything, all the dies. And then we have this really fun die that cuts out this leafy pattern as a background. So we're going to use this die for this first card. Okay. Also, I used this right here for the banner for the Autumn Wishes. That is Textured Notes dies. Stylish Shapes dies for the large circle. And then we did the inner circle with this right here. I like that little pattern. I love these patterns on the circles. And so this is Spotlight on Nature. So we used a lot of dies. If you don't have all those die sets, just substitute something. If you get the kit from me this week, all you need is the Amber Autumn bundle. I'm going to die cut all these other die pieces for you in the kit, so you don't have to have everything. That's a lot to try and have, right? Okay. Here is this is our pieces. And as we go through, however you see that in the envelope, that's how you'll get it in your kit. So your kit will come just like this. I try and put everything in a little bit of order. I put what's going to be stamped on the back. We have our card base, and this is Mossy Meadow this week. On the inside, I have some very vanilla 5 1/4 by 4, and then I have this little piece 5 1/4 by 3/4. This is the paper from that. So the Mossy Meadow is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and it's scored a 4 1/4. Our card's going to open like this. So I'll put this up here for a minute. All right, we've got some layers we're going to put on the front of the card. Let me show you this paper first. This paper is absolutely beautiful. It is Autumn 12, And by the way, this coordinates with this month's paper pumpkin that's coming out. Tomorrow's the last day to sign up for this month's paper pumpkin, but it coordinates with this paper. So you have these beautiful patterns on both sides. I didn't use the one with the pheasant yet. I do want to use it. I didn't use a lot of these yet, but you know, there's plenty of fall time left. Look at this gorgeous one. So there's 2 Stampin' Die sets that coordinate with this suite of products and with these papers. So beautiful, beautiful papers. This one might be my favorite because, I mean, look how beautiful that is. It's just so pretty. And the back sides are pretty good too, right? So great paper pack, Autumn 12. So we have a layer of Cajun Craze. This is 5 3/8 by 4 1/4. And this is 5 1/4 by 4 of our DSP. So we're just going to go ahead and put this right on here to start with. Roz, you got the stamp set and the DSP? Yes. Very, very nice. So this is just going to leave us a skinny border to start with. Just a little bit of color popping through behind this. I like to kind of frame out. If I'm using DSP on a card, I like to have it a little bit framed out like that. Okay, we're going to tie some ribbon around here before we start building on here. So for a lot of the projects tonight, this is the Mossy Meadow and Gold ribbon. It's, they're calling it a trim, but this came with the Painterly Pears suite, and look how pretty. Can you guys see how beautiful that it is? Just so, so pretty. Love, love, love it. All right, so we're going to tie ourselves a little bow around here for our card. Let me cut that off about here. I feel with this new stand that I'm using, I have all this free room right here, which is kind of nice, which usually my other one is kind of in the way and it's not as adjustable. So we'll see. Still highly experimental. I always want you guys to be able to get a closer look at things though, so you can see what's going on, especially as we're doing like coloring, where you need to be able to kind of take a look. What you don't need to see is me tying some bad bows right now. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see. I didn't space my ribbon too well, so now I have kind of a short end, but actually I think it's okay. I don't need a giant bow here, right? Okay, so that's just about perfect right there. And I'll just cut this piece off. I want to have it all the way over, so I'm just going to bend my card and bring it all the way over to the edge. And kind of get it around the middle-ish. Okay, so that's our layer right there. We're going to put it on the front of our card, and then we can start building on top of that. These olive greens or mossy meadows, they kind of remind me, this is a skinny border too as we put it on the card, of, you know, kind of the era I grew up in. You know, I was a little kid in the 60s, so, you know, we had pretty much old olive carpeting in our house, right? We weren't the only ones. All right, we're going to stamp on here. We're going to stamp on this label. And then I have these 2 circles that we talked about that are cut out. These are just going to label right on top of each other. So let's put those together. Yeah, it's funny how different colors remind you of different times in your life, right? And the colors always come back. All right, I'm going to start with some Memento. And we're going to stamp our little pumpkin image, and then we're going to do some coloring. So let me just ink this up. Put it right on here. And let me, time to get a baby wipe out because I've already inked my finger. Okay, let us do Autumn Wishes on our label. I'm gonna pull it down. Need to see. Don't ask me why I loaded my block like this on a diagonal. I guess I needed the room. Okay. All right, let's color. All right, so I played around with some different colors with this. I felt like the Cajun Craze pumpkins were a little bit too dark. I kind of landed on using the Calypso Coral. Let me see if I have any for reference. So this was the Cajun Craze. You can see the difference, how it's kind of, I don't know, a little more rusty colored and dark colored. And then I didn't do pumpkin pie because I thought pumpkin pie, I was trying to kind of match the colors that were in here. So trying to stick to a color theme here. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to get some light Calypso Coral. Wait, I want light and dark Calypso Coral. And then I'll add a little bit of light Cajun Craze as needed. So let me get all these open. Do you guys ever have trouble? I have trouble with a couple of these, and I'm going to get some new ones, but with opening, because the inside is coming out. And I can't remember which one it is exactly, but having a little trouble with those this week. Oh, that's the wrong end. I don't want this end. Okay, look at, they all opened. That's crazy. So what color is this? Calypso Coral. So Cajun Craze, I'm just going to do a little bit of outlining. I'm going to get rid of my bracelets because they're driving me crazy. So you can see it's a little bit more brown looking. So I don't know. You probably don't have to add any of this color. Let me just go in with the dark and kind of outline everything. I've already gone onto the lines. So I feel like these images take a minute to color, but I feel like it's worth it. I wouldn't want to make like 20 of these cards, but I can make a few of them. And I'm just going to do a little bit of dark on the back side of it. And then bring in my light and kind of fill in. As that gets a little bit wet, then I'm going to go back and try and blend the colors and add like a second with the light. Now, how is that working on the camera? Can you kind of see what I'm doing? I feel like it's a little bit closer this week. Although I feel like I'm shaking my desk and the camera. All right, so you can see it gets a little bit darker now as I'm adding. I'm able to blend a little bit. And I'm going to go over like a third time. Now, you don't want to get crazy with blending your colors because then they start to bleed outside of your image. And I did have that trouble with a couple of these things when I was playing with them and doing stuff. So I want to be kind of careful not to get too close to the edges. So you can kind of see where we're at for this one. We're going to do the same thing with the other pumpkin. Did you guys buy any pumpkins yet? I mean, we can't buy them here because it's still 100. Those pumpkins will rot in a week, right? So can't buy pumpkins yet, although they probably have them out already. You could put some in the house, I guess. More dark up here. All right, blend this in a little bit. Leave a little bit of lighter color for highlight. Okay, that's it. That's all we're gonna do with the pumpkins. Now we have this gourd, right? And I'm kind of sticking with the same color scheme here, but aren't gourds like usually like green and yellow? I don't usually buy gourds. They're not my favorite thing, but I feel like they're not. But I wanted, so I just used the light because I wanted a little bit of contrast. So, and I can add a little bit of shading just with the same color. Okay, so we've got that. Let's do, so I'm going to take my light, and if you can see in here, and I think I saw this in the catalog too. Let me get the card up close. Some of these leaves right here, they have a little bit, they're kind of the green color, and they have a little bit of tips right, in the Rusty Calypso Corally color. So I'm just going to add a little bit like that to our tips of our leaves, just like that. And then we'll do the rest. So I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. So let me get my light and dark Mossy Meadow for, this is Old Olive, for this one. Am I done? I think I'm done with all these. So let me cap these up. Excuse me. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of the dark. And I feel like the dark Mossy Meadow is very dark, but yeah, that's too dark. I'm not going to use it. Let's go light. That's a little bit better. Because even the light Mossy Meadow is pretty dark. And we'll get these leaves colored in. Then we have the little corn husks. Now you can do those in a different, lighter color if you want, or you could stay with the Mossy Meadow. I think I'm gonna bring in a little bit of Old Olive for those, but I'm just gonna tap in some of these little leaves on the side. They're very, very skinny. And that little stem, so it's kind of hard to not go out of the lines with a couple of these things, but I'm trying really hard to get it skinny in there. All right. Did everybody have a good football week? Did your teams win? My team did not win, so that was super disappointing. My husband, he's funny, he's already given up on the season. I'm like, it's only one game. Nope, they're gonna lose this year. We're, of course, Bears fans, so, you know. All right, so I'm just making this a little bit lighter. Okay, now let's bring in some pecan pie. I'm going to bring in the light. And I'm just going to do the stems of the pumpkins. And then we have these two little areas right here that are kind of shaded. Can you see those? I'm just gonna put a few lines here, just like that. Okay. Oh, wait, let's color the corn. I'm using light Darling Duckling. Use any yellow that you have for the corn. But when you put all the colors together and color this, I think it turns out really pretty. A very beautiful fall image. Okay, so that's what we've got with our coloring. I should have experimented and done like a green and yellow on the gourd just to see, but I felt like it would have looked, I don't know, kind of off. All right, so get your die cut it out. The die works perfectly. And so this is the image we get after it's die cut out. You can see how nicely it cuts around all these little edges and things. So I think that looks very pretty. So we're ready to finish assembling this card now. Okay, so we're gonna use a lot of dimensionals. Let me find some. Whoa, I need a new sheet, hold on. Here we go, here's one. Oh, Emmeline, hi, if you're still on, hi, babe. Brian said, is watching and says hello. All right, so I'm just gonna put some on the top and some on the bottom to kind of straddle the ribbon. Ugh. Whoa. So I'm not gonna be here next week. I won't be doing a live next week, but I'll be here the week after that. And I think it's gonna be time for a calendar class again. This is gonna go pretty far over to the side like this. I'm going to take this pumpkin image and pop that up as well. So we've got a couple layers going on here. There's just so many cards to make because we still have fall cards. We have Halloween cards. And my goodness, we need to get started on Christmas cards already too, right? So many cards to make. But I got to get the calendar class in there because, you know, it's going to be the end of September. And we're going to need a calendar for October, November, and December. All right, so this right in the middle, just like this, it seems to fit pretty well. Let's, on this side right here, I'm going to put a little of adhesive because it's going to butt up right against here. And then I'll put some other dimensionals. Maybe I'll do 3 of them. Like this. All right. And then we're going to tuck this kind of between the ribbon and the pumpkins. Let's tuck it underneath. I've got a little bit of, hold on, didn't plan too well. Got a little bit of a dimensional in the way. Let me get a pair of scissors. Kind of cut that away a little bit. It'll be fine. All right, let's try doing that again. See if I can get it a little further this time. Maybe I should have put that on first before I put the pumpkins on. Put the label on first, pumpkins on second. All right, but we still don't want the label. We want the words to show, right? So there's, hold on. The struggle is real here. Hold on. Okay, that's pretty good. Ribbon's out, but is it straight? Kind of, sort of. Hold on. Seems complicated, but it's not. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of, first of all, let me see if it's straight, because unless I'm looking straight on with it, I can't really tell. All right, now that I've beat up my label, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glue underneath. You could add a glue dot too if you wanted to. Let me just get my glue started. Okay, just so it sits a little bit nicer. All right, well, I made that really complicated, right? Fix my bow. Okay, stay. All right. Okay, let's just do the inside. Didn't get fancy on the inside. I don't know, I haven't felt like doing anything crazy on the insides. I'm just trying to, you know, you'll have plenty of room to write. You can add something stamped if you would like. Another greeting on the inside. This, I think, would make a nice birthday card, too. If you didn't do the autumn wishes, you could stamp happy birthday. We've got tons of birthday. Everybody has lots of happy birthday stamps, right? Okay. Let's add a couple of the Cajun Craze dots. These are Cajun Craze and gold dots, which are super pretty. And take your pick. So I only put 2 on there. That's kind of crazy. All right. 2 doesn't seem right, but we'll see. Maybe we'll put, it depends exactly how you place things. We'll put 3 like that. Okay, so there we go. You can see when I was talking about the bleeding that this one bled out a little bit on the side here. If that happens, you can just, you know, once it gets dry, take your color lifter, and I'm just going to try and pull a little of that color up with my color lifter. That's because I used too much ink to blend. All right, that is our first card. You guys like that card? I think it's a nice, pretty fall card. Okay, next card. Let's do this one next. This is a fun fold that I frequently do because it's super easy and I think it looks nice. This is a Grateful for You, thanks, and Grateful for You card. We're going to do some more coloring. All right, we're going to use that other image to color this time. This DSP, I'm going back to last week. Hold on. And I'll show you the DSP I'm using for that. But in the meantime, I used the Nested Essentials dies. I used these 2 largest dies right here for the labels. And also this set of label dies. This is the mixed label dies. And I think this is on Last Chance, but I love the stitching on these dies. So I use this die right here with this beautiful stitching. I use this for another card too. The bigger die, I think the next card we make, we're using this die. So it's a really nice set of dies. Using this embossing folder again this week. All right, here's our pieces. Sticking with pretty much the same color theme throughout this week. So here's our piece that we're going to stamp and color on again. So our card base, I've got some layers here, but we're starting with Early Espresso. It's 8.5 by 4 1/4. We're scoring it at 3 inches, so it's almost half of a card, right? This way. And then, so we're going to do some layers. We're going to start with some layers on the inside. So I have Cajun Craze. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have, this is the Gathering Together DSP. This is 5 by 3 3/4. And this is the DSP that we used last week, but they're all interchangeable, right, for fall. So this is the paper pack from last week, if you guys remember. These cards were really pretty with all the gold foiling. So I used some papers this week from the same pack, right? So this is the pattern, which, well, you can see the pattern because we're working on it, this one right here. But that's the paper. And by the way, I sent out all last week's kits for the Amber Autumn, but if you missed it, I still have one kit left that's cut and ready. It's packaged, it's ready to go. So let me know if you would be interested in that kit. So let's put our layers down. A lot of people got it, so you might already have it, but if you missed it, I do have one extra. Okay, there we go. Pretty, right? Same thing on the other side. This Cajun Craze is 4 by 2 3/4. Right? Hold on. 2 3/4. Yep, 4 by 2 3/4. And then this piece that goes inside is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. The measurement sheet is available in the email. If you're on my email list, I send it out tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock. I think I schedule it at 10:05 Eastern, so I think it comes out around 9 a.m. Central, 9:05. But if you're not on my email list, you can just email me and I'll be happy to send you the measurements, because I'm not really sure if I remember to say all the measurements while I'm making the cards. Okay, now we have another piece of Early Espresso, and this is going to be our card that's the inner card, right? So this piece of Early Espresso is 3 by 8 and it's scored in half at 4. All right, so we're going to start building on this card now. So I have an inside layer and I have very vanilla. This is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So we're going to put that on the inside of our card. Again, you could put a sentiment, or it's kind of a small piece, so you may want some room for writing. And then another tiny strip. This is a 1/2 inch strip by 4. That can't be 4. It's 4. Wait. 3 3/4. All right. We'll just put this right here for when you open the card on the inside. Let me just do a little trim. Should have done this before I put it down, but oh well. It's just fine. All right, so that's the inside. Now on the outside, we've got our layers. So I have another piece of Cajun Craze. And this is, let's see, 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, so this is just going to go on right here. I've sent it through. I'm putting stuff like way up because I'm used to doing it that way. I've got to orient myself to the new closeness of the new stand. So anyway, this has been embossed. So we're going to put this little embossed piece on next. All right, we've got a couple of labels we're going to build on. Now this piece right here, this larger one, have you guys seen this beautiful specialty paper? This is absolutely gorgeous. It's so pretty. It is called earthen toned metallic specialty paper, right? So it's kind of a metallic paper. It says earthen tone. And if you look at this online in the store, it looks super light, but it's really very chocolatey. It's kind of early espresso-y. It's a dark brown foil paper. So it's very beautiful. And then I have that other label cut out of Very Vanilla. All right, and we're just going to put this straight down. I'm going to add extra adhesive because we're putting it on an embossed surface, and we want to make sure it sticks well. All right, now we need to do some stamping. It's that time. I'm going to stamp an early espresso for my thanks. And I actually, look at, I did stamp something in here. I wrote grateful for you. So there you go. We need to stamp that too. Let's stamp those two things. This is like the perfect font for the fall and kind of Thanksgiving cards, I think. This thanks is so pretty. I caught a little bit of the edge right there, but I can get that off with my eraser. Not gonna miss the red rubber because I'm not good at it. Oh, see? Not good at it. And always stamp before you put it in. Ugh. Okay. Ignore that. Let me get my eraser and just take a second to get my sand eraser and get that little mark off. Yeah, I'm not, are you guys going to miss the red rubber stamps when they're gone? I like the photopolymer much better. I'm not going to miss the red ones at all. And I especially don't like having to put them together. You know, you're anxious to make something and you're like, oh, I got to put this whole set of stamps together. Okay, there we go. All right, the other image, let's do in Memento Black with the acorns. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, now when I colored, I brought in a little bit on the tips again. I don't know if you like that or not. So I think I'm going to try this one. Let's color one without the tips on the end and see how it looks. Plus, it got a little bit dark. I'm not sure I want my leaves that dark. I was kind of making them the mossy meadow-ish color to match the ribbon, but I don't know if I want them that dark. Okay, so let's bring back our colors. And I am going to use a little bit of the Cajun Craze again. So let me reopen these guys. See if I can open. I tried to open one of these the other day, and the inside went flying across the room, and it took me, I'm going to be honest, see how it opens like this? The inside went flying across the room, and it took me a minute to find it. So I need some new ones. I don't know why that happened or what I've done to make that happen. Whoops, wrong end. But okay, so I'm going to do the very edges with the Cajun Craze, and this one is light. And that's okay because they're acorns. They can be a little more brown, right? They don't have to be as orangey. And you could do this whole thing in brown if you wanted to. You could do some pecan pie, maybe a little of the Cajun Craze. But I'm going back to the Calypso Coral again, because I just think it looked nice. All right, so let's do the dark. We're going to add our next layer right here. And I'm going to do a little bit on the top here. Do you guys get a lot of acorns where you are? We actually are getting a lot of acorns. We have two big trees right in front of our house and lots of acorns. But the exciting thing is we've seen a squirrel a couple times this week, and we really haven't had much in the way of squirrels. So I hope he's going to live in our tree, because I do love the little squirrels. They're so cute. So he's been invited. We'll see if he lives in our tree. It's a pretty big tree. But anyway, tons of acorns, which are a pain in the neck to get out of the grass. But They're live oaks though. Those are not that pretty of a tree. You know, native to us down here in Texas. Okay. So we have a little bit of kind of a rusty color. I feel like I want a little bit darker. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the dark Calypso coral because I don't want it to be quite so pinky. Okay, here's what we have. Can you see that? All right, so for the tops, I'm going to use Pecan Pie, light and dark. Light, let's start with dark. And I'm just doing the top, like the crown, the top of the top. And then we'll go with light to color in the rest. Two long coloring cards in a row. The rest will go by fast because they're pretty easy and we're not going to do any more coloring, right? Am I lying? I don't think I'm lying. Let's see. Nope, no more coloring. This would be it. I'm just doing these like branch stems right here. Okay, there's our acorns complete. Let's just do the leaves. I'm not going to do the tipping this time. Let's see how it looks. And I'm going to go with mostly Old Olive because I don't want it to be super dark. So I'm going to get out light and dark Old Olive and my light Mossy Meadow. So I'm just going to start with the light Mossy Meadow just to add a little bit of darkness right to the veins of the leaves. Just outside the lines and kind of messy. Hopefully that's dark enough. Then I'm going to do my next layer in the dark Old Olive, which is pretty much the same color, right? And just add a little bit more width to that. And then we'll try doing the rest in the light and see how that looks. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see where one leaf starts and another one ends. Whoa, let me just completely color outside the lines. Time for the color lifter again. All right, so I'm going to add my light and then I'm going to go back and try and blend it in as the colors start to mix a little bit and try and work in some small sections here. Get this blended. So squeaky. Anybody have anything fun going on this week? So I usually don't have any time to watch any TV on Tuesday because I'm doing my live, and then after that it takes me about an hour and a half to post everything that needs to go up and schedule my email for tomorrow and stuff. But I kind of want to rush through it tonight because, you know, first of all, we watch Big Brother, so there's a Tuesday episode, which there normally isn't on tonight. So I don't know if we want to watch that. But then, Only Murders in the Building. Do you guys watch that? With Steve Martin and Martin Short. I love that show. And that premieres tonight. So I'd really like to watch that. I guess 3 episodes they're posting tonight and then 1 a week. Obviously, I'm not going to stay up all night and watch 3 episodes. I will watch 1 episode if we watch it. But, so I have a TV decision to be making. And then I found out today, too, that Steve Martin and Martin Short are coming to San Antonio at the end of January. So the tickets go on sale Friday. So I really would like to get tickets to see that. I forgot to mention that to my husband at dinner. Steve Martin is one of my all-time favorites. He's just amazing. Okay, done. All right, there we go. I think it looks fine with that, right? Okay, all right. So I have one that I've already done and cut out, but I'm just thinking to myself now, do I want, this is the one that I've already cut out. Do I want to die cut this one? I guess there's not that much of a difference, so we'll use the one I die cut already. But just to show you, this is what it looks like without the little tips, with just the green, which I might almost like that better. I don't know. I can't decide. All right, the rest of this is easy. Let's get some more of that pretty ribbon, and we're gonna tie it around this way. And we're just gonna tie it in a knot this time, because I didn't really feel like there was a lot of room for a bow on this side. It's pretty tight once you close it up, so let's do that. Yeah, Steve Martin is my favorite. I mean, going all the way back to, you know, remember when he was on Saturday Night Live? If you're old enough to remember that. I'm certainly old enough to remember that. But, you know, King Tut and Two Wild and Crazy Guys. He's just, I don't know, he's just funny. And of course, every year at Thanksgiving, we have to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's a must. It's a must. I think we usually watch it the night before Thanksgiving. All right, that's pretty good. Let's just trim this up. All right, this we're gonna pop up. If you're watching on YouTube later, because I will post this later, please say hello. Love to see who's watching. Tell me where you're from. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to. I appreciate that so much. All right, kind of right in the middle here. All right, we're gonna kind of do, I'm gonna put one dimensional right here, so I'm not adding extra layers of dimensionals. I want it to sit nicely. And then I'm just gonna cover this side with some adhesive, and we'll put that right across here. I'm gonna put it a little bit lower, I think like that. All right. Okay, so this is gonna put right in the middle. So the back of it, I'm just gonna add a healthy amount of adhesive. I'm gonna center it right exactly in the middle, if I can get kind of close to it, like that. And then it'll open for us this way. I'm gonna move this ribbon. See how I said it was tight? Let me curve this and just move this over a little bit. Hold on. So that there's enough room for this to close, okay? All right, now for embellishments on this one, I went with, these are the low profile sparkle dots, again from that Painterly Pears suite. Thank you. So I went with the middle one, which is kind of an old olive mossy meadow looking color, but they're really beautiful because they have the gold sparkles again, right? Love the sparkles. So I'm taking a couple of the little ones and just putting them on the label itself. And then I just sprinkled some, there's two sizes of these, on around the acorns. So we've got those and this like that. All right. I think we're done with all that coloring because that takes a while. The next ones will go a little bit faster, but there we go. Card number 2. Yeah, Barb, aren't those gems amazing? They're just so pretty. I don't think you guys can really see on the camera how sparkly and beautiful these gems are, but in person, they are amazing. So we've got lots of sparkle on the card between this and the ribbon and that really beautiful foil. Okay, card number 2 is done. All right, now let's do this one. This one's a little bit different, right? So we're gonna open this one like this. I would not have thought to put gray granite and brown together, but it's in the DSP, and I was like, all right, let's try that, and I like it. It's kind of cool. I added some gems, those same Cajun Craze gems, which I didn't have in the picture. But when I was cutting everything last night, I was like, oh, this needs something just a little more, and those gem colors are perfect. All right, here's our pieces. All right, so this one is a little bit easier. So we're starting Cajun Craze. We have 4 1/4 by 11. It's scored at 5 1/2. So you're cutting your full piece of cardstock lengthwise and score it in the middle, and it's just going to fold like this. Okay. Inside, since we're using gray granite, I went with a gray granite inside and a little bit of this DSP. So 5 1/4 by 4 on the gray granite and 4 by 3/4 on this DSP, and that's going to be our inside. Make sure I don't need to trim anything, just a tad. All right, inside first, I guess, since it's here. Let's just do it. There's our card base. Okay, so nothing too fancy. We're just going to take a 5 1/4 piece of this DSP. You can see the other side is the fox side, right? Which is kind of pretty. I feel like this would make a nice masculine birthday card, right? Anybody have a man in their life who has a fall birthday? This would be a really nice card for them, I feel like. Okay, gray granite from Stylish Shapes Dies. We've got the biggest square, and we're going to turn this into our diamond. So we'll put this all the way to the top, right like that. See if I can get it to be straight-ish. Okay. I have this from the, why do I always block the name of this? I always block the name of this circle set. It is, hold on, I gotta look again. Spotlight on Nature. I don't know why. All right, so this is going to be the background. We're going to end up putting this, we're going to pop this up. So I just took a piece of the paper, the DSP, and I got out my 2 3/8 inch punch, and this is still available. I have the number for it if you need it. And I just, you know, found the area that I thought would look good, which is just a little fox sitting by the tree, and just punched out the circle. Super easy. All right, so let's put that down on our circle and then pop that up. That can go right in the middle. So it's kind of interesting because, you know, I'm doing a lot of going online now because I can't remember what's gone, what's still there. So I'm trying to check things now on the website. And so I'm going on the website and looking at shop products. And so if you go to shop products and you go to punches, like some of the punches aren't there. Like this one, when I was looking up the number, I'm like, oh shoot, it's discontinued. But I used it because it wasn't in the punches. But then I just put it in the search feature and I found it, and it's still there and still available. So I don't know why it wasn't listed under punches, but I found that with a couple different sizes of the punches. Okay, let's do our label now. I have blessed to have you in my life. So let's stamp that. And I did that in Early Espresso. You could do it in the black if you wanted to. What a really, really nice sentiment, right? Okay. Now I want this right in the middle. Okay. So I have 2 of the exact same size labels. I have one in Cajun Craze and one in Early Espresso. They're the same. So I'm just going to take a trimmer. You could take a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut this off. So I want a little bit above the words this way. Let me see. Make sure that things are looking kind of even too. Hopefully I stamped straight. And then we'll do the bottom as well. Okay, probably not a perfect job, but now I can layer those on and they will line up nicely. I feel like it just adds a little something extra here. Okay, Does that kind of sort of look straight? I think so. This can come up just a tiny bit. Okay, there we have that right there. Now I took this gray granite from the Stylish Shapes dies again, and I have this little banner. I'm going to cut it in half, and we'll add it to either side. So let me just add a little adhesive on each side, and we'll put it where we think it needs to be. So just kind of coming off, not too far out like that, I think. And the other side, we want about the same. All right, there we go. Can you see how that came out? Let's pop that up. Is it starting to get dark? It looks like the sun's starting to set here now. What time is it? It's just about 8 o'clock, so the days are getting shorter. All right, right in the middle, like that. We're gonna add some gems, and then we're done with this card. Super fast. Lost my gems, pardon my reach. All right. Big, small, and medium. All right, that was an easy one. Didn't take too long. Card number 3, all done. All right, we have one more. We're gonna do this one next. Let me get a quick drink of water. So I wasn't really sure what to do with this die. So let me show you the other pieces we're using. So this is a new set in the new catalog. It's Branching Out dies. It comes in a bundle with a stamp set, which is also very pretty. But I love the shape of these dies. I think they're just so pretty. Also using the little pine cone from this set to punch out the die, okay? So we're using that. And then that die from the set, from the bundle, we're using this big die right here. All right, with all the leaves. And so when I first looked at this, I was like, what color should I make that? What color should I make the background? Well, the possibilities are endless with the color combinations. But I wanted to do like a light and dark to make sure that it really popped so you could really see it. So I just went kind of normal. So I did Very Vanilla in the background. I did Cajun Craze in the foreground. So it might look a little plain to you. The other thing we could have done was in the background, we could have used a little bit of the DSP. I was thinking this color right here, we could have used in the background. It would have given it a little bit different look, and probably the leaves still would have shown up pretty good, but I just went with kind of the plain colors. So, all right, here's our pieces for this one. All right. So card base, back to Mossy Meadow, 8.5, 5.5, square to 4 1/4. I have 5 1/4 by 4, Very Vanilla for the inside. Couldn't think of anything too clever, although if you have any extra leaves that we're going to put on the front, you could certainly put those in the inside as well. All right, so we've got some layers. So Very Vanilla is going to be 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So that's going to give us a skinny border around both. Let me see, is that too skinny? Nope, I think it's fine. I want to make sure I cut it accurately. So this is our background on our card base. Okay, just like that. All right, you can see, I don't know if you can still see, but there is a Mossy Meadow border around it. Now, this piece right here, the Cajun Craze, is 5 1/4 by 4. And this will be our next layer. And this is the one we're going to die cut with that die. So after you die cut it, and a lot of little pieces fall all over your floor, you're going to have this. See how pretty that is with the leaves? Isn't that beautiful? So we need to glue this on. So I'm going to get out my silicone mat. now that I found it, and I'm going to use just regular glue. Now there's lots of different ways you can do this. I'm just going to add some little glue dots all over the place because it's easy. But you could also squirt some glue out on your mat, your silicone mat, and use like a makeup sponge or a sponge dauber. There's lots of different ways you can do it. Or use a different type of adhesive. I used to use a glue pen all the time, and I haven't even had that out for a while. I don't know if I even have anywhere. Yeah, this is the one I used to use. This Zig glue, the 2-way glue pen. I haven't used this for a really long time. It's not Stampin' Up, but it's a really good way just to quickly get your glue on there. So I'll just kind of show you. I used to use this a lot, and then I started warming up to the green glue. I'm just trying to get my tip started. It might be dried up because I haven't used it in a really long time. I actually have one that's open over here. Let me see if this one will go faster, because this one I have used before. There we go. And you can see, you can just drag this along. And I think I get these on Amazon, and this is a little bit faster than just doing the dots of glue. But when I did the first card, when I was working over the weekend, the other thing you have to be careful is pressing down and it goes under your mat, and then you get glue on the front of it. So you don't want that either. But I'm just kind of going through here, and it's a little bit faster. So adhesive of your choice. All right, let me put this down. See if I can get it in the right place, because we're going to have a skinny border again. Ugh. Just want to make sure it's straight. That's the most important thing. It doesn't have to be equal on all sides necessarily, but it needs to be straight. Okay, now I'm going to get a giant block and put it on there and let it dry for a minute. Okay, other pieces, those, I have Mossy Meadow in the bigger one. Right here. I keep going so high on my camera. I'm so sorry. I'll get used to it, I promise. So I have Mossy Meadow, and then I have Very Vanilla in the smaller size. I have a little something on there. There we go. All gone. Hey, and if you get my kits, I just wanted to mention, sometimes there's a little bit of darkness on the back side of the things that I cut out. I don't really see it here, but sometimes there is. That's not dirt, just so you know, it's magnet. So I use magnetic plates when I do a lot of die cutting, because I'm doing die cutting in mass quantities, right? So I have a giant plate that I put through a big electronic machine, and sometimes it picks up the magnet on the back. So FYI on that. Let's get out some Cajun Craze, and we're going to do Autumn Wishes. Now I need to clean off my stamp because I had it in a different color. Okay, and we'll do this in Cajun Craze. Man, I am super inky. Okay, and we can do this right in the middle. Straight would have been good, but you know, here we are. Okay, now we're going to start building on this, and I think this is probably ready. We can put our ribbon on, and then we'll just build right on it. Okay, hopefully it's down pretty good. If there's a few places stuck up, that's fine too. We're going to go back to this ribbon and tie it right around the middle. I used a lot of ribbon on these cards, huh? That's okay. Now, the other thing, if you're not that big of a fan of ribbon, is we have the really beautiful pack of Old Olive and Early Espresso baker's twine. Really, really pretty too, if that's more your thing, is twine. I always forget to use the twine. I'm such a fan of ribbon. I always forget to use the twine. All right, I kind of want this angled up a little this way. Okay. Scissors. Have you guys been getting any of the kits? I think the kits are really awesome. We're gonna put this up with dimensionals. But if you took a sneak peek in the catalog, if you were looking through it, I think there's gonna be like a Nutcracker kit. I was hoping it was gonna come out when the new kits came out this month, and it didn't. So I'm thinking probably next month it'll come out, and I am so excited because I love Nutcracker things. My favorite. I may have a little bit of a Nutcracker problem, but we don't have to talk about that now. Okay, there we go. Let me check my fingers because I seem to be getting ink where it shouldn't be. Like right here. Fortunately, it's very light, so it's easy to get off. Okay. All right, so we're just going to, you have 3 pieces that'll come in your kit: Cajun Craze, Old Olive, and we've got that beautiful foil, okay? So you're gonna cut out 2 leaves, and then 2 of those little branchy things, okay? And then you're also gonna get a little piece of Early Espresso, although I can't find it at the moment. I don't know if it's still in the envelope, but you'll cut out a couple pine cones, all right? Actually, did I? Okay. Yeah. Uno momento. Hold on. Let me make sure I have that on my sheet because, yeah, I have it. I just didn't cut it. It's on my measurement sheet. Okay, so I've already cut those out. Let me bring over my pieces. So I have the 2 Old Olive leaves, the 2. Isn't that a really pretty, doesn't that die cut that really pretty, these little leaves with the inside like that? I love those. Those are really cute. All right, 2 Early Espresso pine cones. Well, maybe 2. One just went on the floor. There we go. Cut extra because I tend to drop stuff. All right, so these are our pieces that we're going to be working with, and I'm actually cutting the stems almost off all of them because I don't want the stems sticking out. So let me just go through and cut off all the stems. And then we're just going to bunch them up together. All right, get rid of all these little pieces. And I think I'm just going to use, maybe I'll use glue dots. Let me get some glue dots out. Although there's not a great place to glue dot these, but let's start by trying that. So I'm going to put one of these here. And another one like this. I don't think glue dot's the best idea because they're going to move a little bit. See how that might move a little bit? So that's probably not the best idea. Let me add a little bit of glue. A little bit here. Is that coming out? I can't see behind me. Okay. All right. Let's just go with the glue at this point. But it can still just be towards the bottom. Then we'll add one of these little branchy things. And then we will, now you can either glue this down, or I used some, on this card I used a little dimensional to put that on. I think I'm gonna just glue it down because, I don't know, having it popped up, I'm not sure. All right, same thing on the other side. we're going to do opposite. So we'll do here. That one. And then our little pine cone. Put a lot of glue on the pine cone because there's a few layers here. All right, let me just hold those down for a minute. Okay, let's add some more of those gems. And another one that's really not too hard, right? Okay, that's it. We did all the cards. Let me put some things away here. Kind of a mess. Kind of a mess, but not terrible. I've seen it worse. Okay, that's it. Let me bring in all our cards. I'm going to push this up just a little bit so we have room to see everything. All right, so we started with this one right here. Then we went to our little fun fold. We did our kind of masculine card, I would say. And then we finished with our autumn wishes. So that's a nice collection of cards to make, right? A nice collection of fall cards. I hope y'all like these cards tonight. Thank you for watching. I love spending time with y'all. Super fun. Let me, again, I mentioned the project and measurement sheet. If you would like the measurements, this will be in the email that goes out tomorrow if you're on my email list. Otherwise, just email me. I'll send you the measurements. You guys, I just want to talk about the kits for a second. So this kit is for World Card Day. I got mine this week. I haven't opened it yet, but these are really cute cards. You get a little card holder or just a little organizer box, which is super fun. So that's one of the kits. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have you guys seen this Road to Christmas kit? This kit is $14. So let me show you. I made a couple of the cards in there in the kit. So there's just 2 cards. So you make 2 different sets of cards. So here's the card as you make it. It's nice. Everything's popped up. And then I just added a couple layers to it because I like to add. I put it on a Lost Lagoon card base and added a layer of cherry cobbler. And then same thing with the other one. This is the way that it comes. And then I added a couple layers for that. So this is just so cute. And even the envelopes, look how cute these envelopes are. Look at, adorable. $14 for this whole kit. So that's super fun. I also want to mention the Halloween kit. Did you guys get the little Halloween kit with the boxes? Like, I made these this weekend. Let me pull this up a little more so you can see. Look how cute these boxes are. All I have to do now is just put treats in them and I can hand these out at Halloween. Like, I can take these to work and hand these out. So fun. The kits are just super great. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, don't forget about Paper Pumpkin. Tomorrow's the last day to order this fall for Toile, and it coordinates with, look at the little fox. It coordinates with what we've been using. So there you go. All right, you guys, thanks so much. Have a good week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. All right, bye-bye.